Yes, your dog can poop in the rain. While that title is meant to get your attention and maybe is a little silly sounding, this is a serious topic. What we're talking about today is not just some dogs that don't like to go out in the rain, but we're talking about avoidance as a pattern of behavior and how we as owners tend to foster that behavior without realizing it. I'm going to start out by saying that this usually comes from a good place. This problem that we create in our dogs of teaching them to avoid and to become less than what they could have been and ultimately results in behavioral problems comes from love. People contact me all the time with behavioral problems in their dogs where usually it started as a small problem or something that could have just, it's kind of like a puddle. You can just skip over it and move on with your day. But the owner doesn't like to see their dog in an uncomfortable situation. None of us like to see our pets in distress, right? We love them. We take our role as protector of our pet very seriously. And so we want to just put our arms around our pets and bubble wrap them and shelter them from the stresses of life. Now, it's important to understand that stress can be a healthy thing, and stress can be used to help your pet grow and become bigger and stronger in their personality and in their development. And ultimately, this should be our goal with our pets, is to have a healthy, well-balanced, fully developed dog. And what I mean by that is, if I go out with my puppy or my adult dog and they have a frightening encounter, a recycling bin gets knocked over in the wind, that's going to spook a lot of dogs. The dog is going to sidestep it or maybe want to change directions. And a lot of people, as a result of seeing their dog be stressed, are either going to stop and comfort their pet and talk to their dog as if the dog understands the words, where really the dog is understanding the sentiment of you're getting positive attention for this behavior, and possibly even understanding the sentiment of the owner being nervous too. So what I do in a situation like that, I see my dog get put out by the recycling bin getting knocked over, I go over and I touch it and I drag my dog with me. And my dog is hanging back at the end of her leash. She's like, yeah, you go slay the dragon, in this case the recycling bin, and I'll hang back here and let me know when the coast is clear. What's going to happen with most dogs is they're going to come forward at some point, take a little sniff, move away. Take a sniff, move away, take a sniff, realize nothing's there, and then they'll move on with their life. What we're trying to do is we're trying to normalize everyday occurrences, everyday situations, everyday stimuli, so that the dog just realizes that the world that it lives in is a safe place. And not only that, when it feels that uncomfortable feeling, that fight or flight response, that it has pushed forward and learned that it's going to be okay. This is one of the greatest gifts you can give your dog, is to teach your dog, when you feel stressed, when you feel uncomfortable, you can overcome. Think about what that means. You want to make your pet feel better, so you're going to pet your dog. You're going to tell your dog it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, and you're trying to make your dog feel better. Ultimately, you're just going to make your dog more anxious. So that's not going to help. But imagine teaching your dog that the dog, when it's afraid of something, can move forward and it's actually a positive outcome. There is no more empowering instant in a dog's life than realizing the thing that it was afraid of, it need not be afraid of, right? Self-motivation and self-discovery are the most powerful parts of the learning process. So when the dog realizes that it doesn't need to be afraid, then it's going to have a tendency to move forward each and every time that it's faced with a challenging situation, depending, of course, what it is. By the same token, if the dog learns to avoid, I hate to say this, but avoidance is like a cancer. It will grow and grow and grow, and it feeds itself. And then what happens is it becomes a pattern, and before you know it, your dog is afraid of the most mundane things. The way a dog's brain works is if they engage in a behavior and there is a favorable outcome, then they believe that their behavior was directly responsible for that favorable outcome. What that means in short is, in the example with the recycling bin, if the dog was afraid of the recycling bin, and then as a result went off the sidewalk into the road to avoid it. When you get home, your dog's takeaway from that walk is, I made it home safe. I lived to see another day because I avoided that scary thing. Who knows what could have happened to me if I put myself in even more imminent danger near that awful recycling bin. Okay, so that is a very, very powerful message, and in this case, not the message that we want our dog to receive. So you've got to be careful with that, and you've got to show your dog that there's an alternate way. There's a different path, a different kind of GPS routing that we can use to be safe. And we can train our dogs to be neutral. We can train our dogs to have alternate focuses. There's a lot we can do, but we definitely don't want to let our dog avoid, right? If you take away anything from this video, is that avoidance is awful because it will grow and grow and grow, and it will just engulf your dog's personality. It's so important to understand that your dog believes that whatever behavior it's engaging in, when there's a favorable outcome, is the direct cause of that favorable outcome. I've got dogs in the kennel right now that are pretty much afraid of everything but their immediate family. They're afraid of a friendly stranger. They're afraid of someone looking at them from 15 and 20 feet away. They're afraid of someone in their not even immediate vicinity when the person isn't even looking at them. Can you imagine what a stressed out existence it is for these dogs? And then I get contacted, and my job is to help these dogs regain whatever amount of confidence we can muster up in them, and help the owners understand a better way to live with their dogs, and help the dog become just a more balanced animal. Remember, our goal is not to bubble wrap and protect our dog. Our goal really should be to strengthen our dog so that our dog can be a happy, free-spirited, confident dog, or at least the closest approximation to that our individual dog can be, right? Every dog, like every person, is an individual. So not every dog can be that free-spirited, happy-go-lucky dog, but we can certainly max out whatever that dog's potential is. And that's never going to happen by us trying to comfort and protect our dog. So again, I know that this comes from love. I know this comes from someone who cares so deeply about their pet that they hate to see their dog in distress, but that stress can be a healthy thing. So the title for this video came to me one day during a break in a lesson with a client and her dog. Her dog's name is George, and he's an English bulldog, and he doesn't like to go out in the rain, doesn't like to go out to the bathroom in the rain, and it's a real problem for them because when it rains out in the past, he has sometimes avoided going out to the bathroom, so much so that he's become impacted by not having a regular bowel movement, and then had to go to the vets for relief for this very issue.
Oh, it has for me.
Well, sure.
Constipation.
Sure.
I had to bring my dog in because it was raining for a bunch of days, and he didn't want to go out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like it was just, he was crying in the middle of the night.
Oh,
and
wow.
Yeah. I had to bring him to the vet, and they had to.
Yeah. So when you're in a situation with your dog where your dog might want to avoid, realize it's not just about that moment, it's about the pattern that you're allowing to set in, right? Because if a dog does something once, it's an event. If a dog does something a couple of times or multiple times, it's the beginning of a pattern. And you know how fast that can set in. And the more we let it set in, the more challenging it is to change that later on. So keep that in mind, because any form of avoidance will become a pattern over time if we allow it to. And we want to help our dogs push through so that they're more confident, so that they trust us as their leaders, and so that we can have a nice quality of life with our dogs where we're not having to worry about them and they're not feeling like they need to go into their turtle shell anytime they feel uncomfortable. So what's the takeaway from this video? First of all, we can't comfort and bubble wrap our dogs into being more confident animals. That has to come from within, and that has to come through our guidance and exposure in a very constructive way where we allow our dogs to overcome life's everyday normal occurrences. The more we try to shelter them, the more we try to comfort them, the more we coddle and bubble wrap our dogs, the weaker we're actually making them. So please keep that in mind. And remember that a little bit of stress can be very healthy for a dog if we allow our dog the opportunity to overcome that stress. So we have to let them overcome. And if you need help, reach out to a trainer so that they can help you maximize your dog's potential and help you put your dog on a path to where your dog is going to be the most confident, well-balanced dog that you can have. At the end of the day, all we want is a happy, healthy, and by healthy, I mean physically, mentally, emotionally, well-balanced dog. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'm Nick Zibgolis from Family Canine Dog Training.